Assalamualaikum to our lecturer Dr. L. Sheh. This is our assignment for electromagnetic theory, which is interference in automobile. My name is Mohamad Firdaus bin Ahmad Shaharuddin, and this is my teammates, which is Muhammad Haziq bin Muhammad Shaari, Izzat Emir bin Azri, and Muhammad Arif bin Azam.
The system of modern vehicle is more complex compared to the old one due to the technological advance that has been implemented by certain companies to fulfill market demands. In this era, where renewable energy is placed as a top priority, most big companies will come up with a concept based on electrical system. Tesla Incorporated, for instance, has been producing electrical cars since 2003 and has become one of the biggest car manufacturers in the world. Tesla launched its initial public offering IPO in 2010 at a price of $17. Now, in 2018, the stock price of the company has skyrocketed to $280 per share. This proves that the investors believe electric car will get a high demand and become the leader of the market in the future. What is electromagnetic interference? An unwanted signal that disrupts the operation of an electronic device. Electromagnetic interference, including radio frequency interference, radiates or conducts undesirable voltage into victim circuit. Radiated interference is that which is transmitted by electromagnetic fields and received by the antenna effect of other equipment. Conducted interference is interference that is introduced into a circuit by coupling. The source of electromagnetic interference can arise from many sources, being either man-made or natural. Man-made EMI arises from other electronic circuits, while natural occurring EMI arise from many sources, such as lightning and noise from atmosphere. As this topic is involving automobile, there are two sources of electromagnetic interference: the ignition system and unshielded cable. How electronic interference travel? Electromagnetic interference travels through galvanic isolation in the form of voltage drop on metallic pieces and lead resistance, and through inductive way via system capacity. Inductive coupling between parallel wires results in rapid change of current, which will produce a magnetic field around it. The process then will interfere the operation of other electronic devices, result in damage to the input transistor. Power surge occur during power failure.
Okay, for the source of electromagnetic interference in automobile, the initial system, which is the natural. The system consists of a low voltage DC power supply, which is the battery, a high voltage generator, the coil, and the distributor breaker point, a switching mechanism to supply voltage to the proper spark plugs, which is the distributor, and spark plugs to provide a spark to each cylinder of the engine. Due to the high voltage, the opening and closing of the various points and the firing of the spark plugs, this system generates radio frequency interference over a broad frequency range. The rise times of these high voltage pulses are usually only a few nanoseconds, which result in a broad spectrum of frequencies. Vehicle ignition system is considered to be the main electromagnetic interference source. Spark plug discharge between spark plug electrodes in the main source of interference in ignition system. The power surge generated by the ignition system arises upon the delivery of power supply through the ignition system. For the unshielded cable, which is the man-made, in order to reduce weight, size, and cost, The cable between the converter and the load are commonly unshielded. The cables from the converter to the load are usually located with some space between the cable and the chassis, which work as a ground plane. Between the ground plane and the cable there is a parasitic capacitance. This capacitance creates a closed current loop for the modulation harmonics in the cables and the ground plane. The long unshielded cable then work as antennas, especially in the higher frequency areas where the length of the cables is close to the wavelength. This creates radiated electromagnetic emissions. And for our target market, for the study case, we focus on Malaysian automobile company, which is Proton Holdings Berhad. Proton Holdings Berhad is a Malaysia-based corporation active in automobile design, manufacturing and distribution and sales. Proton produced its first indigenously designed through a Mitsubishi engine, non-batch engineered car in the year 2000 and elevated Malaysia as the 11th country in the world with the capability to design cars from the ground up. Since the 2000s, Proton has produced a mix of locally engineered and batch engineered vehicles. If we compare Proton's car model with other big companies' model, the gap can be clearly seen in terms of technological advance and specification.
Now we go to how to counter electromagnetic interference in automobile. We found there are a few methods, but we found two of them. So the first is the shielding of the cable. The shielding sets boundaries for radiated energy through reflection or absorption, and the shield surface reflects interference energy because the impedance discontinuity at the shield boundary. The shield also intercepts radiated noise and return to its source through low impedance. So a common way to reduce electromagnetic interference by shielding the cable to suppress the radiation from interference with other electrical devices. This so that it won't affect other device other than itself. And the condition for this protection to be effective is a good electrical connection between the metal shield enclosing the source and the mass of the vehicle. But there are some drawbacks with this method. Because a shielded cable is a lot more expensive, it's heavier and more difficult to mount correctly than an unshielded cable. So, and there's also a risk of damage of the shielding caused by vibrations from the vehicle. Next is the usage of LC filters and reactors for the ignition system. Capacitors, inductors and LC filters are used on the low voltage side in order to reduce the level of radio electromagnetic interference at a frequency of long and medium wave ratio. One attaches capacitors in parallel to the source of electromagnetic interference, while reactors are used to improve the effectiveness of suppression in the range of ultra-high frequency wave. The inclusion of a reactor in the power cord of an electrical equipment prevents electromagnetic interference from the power supply. A low-pass filter can be built and formed as a standard resistor plug to suppress the radiation caused by ignition system. The improved filter spark plug reduces the radiated electromagnetic interference by an additional 10 dB at 100 MHz and 20 dB at 500 MHz. However, there was very little electromagnetic interference reduction in the 10 to 20 MHz frequency range.